Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to Focus on Liberia Online Television. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Good morning and good evening. My name is Gwendolyn Dorado, reporting, and we are on the grounds, especially in the office of the acting chairman, Honorable Commissioner Abdullah L. Kamara, who sometimes in June went on the national podium at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism to inform the public of some issues that are affecting the government of Liberia revenue capacity, especially with the two GSM companies we have in Liberia, that of Orange GSM and the Lone Star GSM. And so Focus on Liberia thought to do follow-up on the issues, what are the outcomes, and what is the way forward. So we are here today, and I'd like to say good afternoon to you, Mr. Kamara.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you.
How are you?
Well, I'm good, and it's good to be on your platform.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. So, Honorable Commissioner, like I stated earlier, in June sometimes, on the 27th, if I can recall, you had a press release from your entity relating to the two GSM companies we have in Liberia here. And then you explained some issues that came up, and we thought to do follow-up. So you're going to shortly, can I say, go over, and then we'll find our way forward. But before you go through with that, what the LTA, that's the LTA, is about, sir?
Okay. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to be on your platform. Many thanks to Mr. Jai and his colleagues for putting up such a informative platform, mostly void of bias, and I appreciate that. The LTA is actually the Liberia Telecommunications Authority. We are clothed with the responsibility by law to ensure that there are licensed service providers in Liberia, and that we create a fair ground for the licensed operators to do their business in the best interest of the consumers, which are our citizens, as well as for the good of the companies themselves. So we are there to create this good balance between what the company wants to do as a business and what is fair to consumers or citizens that are paying for the services. That's our, in a nutshell, in a short, that is our responsibility and our task as the regulator of the telecommunications sector.
Okay. Last month, June, when you appeared on the national podium at the Ministry of Information, you had some issues with the GSM companies, the only two we have here. Can you just go over shortly what the problems were?
Yeah, so just one step back. So we have three operators. Mm-hmm. So Liberia Telco, or LTC, is a government-owned entity that's also operating, along with Orange and MTN, called Lone Star. Mm-hmm. Even though the Liberian company, LTC, is not really fully functioning as compared to the others, but they are also in the space.
Okay.
But actively, yes, the market is dominated by Orange and MTN. And over the years, we have seen the market grow as we reduce prices and as we gave more access to citizens. Before, it used to be a luxury to have a mobile phone in the, I would say, early 2000s. Until LTA was created and LTA started to issue license and regulations to control how the market works. Before, you used to pay for a SIM card, I heard $15, and now you're paying $1, and sometimes it's even free of charge. Now, with respect to this particular instance, the operators a few years ago, they used to fight each other with price war, it's called. In other words, instead of fighting on the quality of their service, they took advantage, I would say, of the capacity of our people. They started to sell so-called $1 free call. How can you say $1 then you say free call? So that was even a misleading advertisement, because you are paying $1 for unlimited. And because of that, the two parties started to make even more crazy offers. The offer is good, but it affects the quality of service and also the money that goes to government. The taxes that they're supposed to pay on that revenue. You know, if you sort of sell something, government say, you know what, I will not make your license expensive. We could have told them pay $25 million for license. But government said, no, we will not charge heavy for licenses. However, we will charge you an acceptable amount, and as you make more revenue, you give government a certain percentage. Similarly with GST and other things. But when you cut the price so far below, the government loses. But also the bad thing is that the quality of service, because they will not have enough money to invest in the infrastructure. And this is why the government said at the time, no, it has to stop. So you can reduce your price, but there was a price floor, which means you can't go below this one.
Yeah.
In that way, they started claiming, oh, then the citizen, you're not getting a free call, blah, blah, blah. All that is misleading. You must say they give you 3-day free call. If you got only 10 people to call, that only 10 people you will call. So they shouldn't give that impression as if you just turn on your phone and leave it on for 3 days. And so they,
3 whole days.
For 3 whole days, then they call it free call.
Okay.
And it was not free.
Okay, if you can even call one person on it, and
yeah, exactly. So if you have only one person to call and you call that person, you're finished talking, then I mean the rest of your dollar gone. So and it was a package that you had to sign up, so you're not paying as you go. You know, it was paying strictly. So that intervention at the time helped the government also, because when the price floor got in place, all of them started to sell normally, I would say. The price, Liberia still has one of the cheapest in the region, but we can still go a little bit below, but it has to be in a formalized manner, in a good fashion. So they kept carrying this thing below until when we came here, we realized, but there was no respect for the order that was issued by the LTA. I don't know why the previous commissioners accepted that to just go on when they had an order in place. And the interesting thing, the two operators started to cry and say, oh, we're losing money, oh, we're losing money, oh. That means the government also is losing money. They themselves started to report each other. You see, Orange going down, we ourselves going down. They started to offer low and low. So it is bad, not because one of your, it's like you on a football field. I always use this example. You're playing on the football field, you got a referee on the field. Somebody kick you, the referee now saw it, or even if the referee saw it, he said, oh ref, you saw the man kicking me? The man said, okay, I'm watching, just wait. Then you go and yourself start, just join and get the man Chinese kick, I would say, or karate kick. That is wrong. So because of that, because the other men went below, they were going below. So we said, okay, you know what? I understood the previous board called them and told them, say, "Go, gentlemen, you have to go back to where it's supposed to be. And if you want to also reduce the price further, we can have that meeting together." And sadly, that meeting I heard took place and instructions were given, but they didn't follow through. And based on that information, and also we call them in, we say, "Hey, are you aware that you're violating?" They say, "Yeah, but my other person is violating." So we say, "Okay, we'll take action on it." And our action was to find them. In fact, if we wanted to be very, very radical in our approach, because we want to remain business friendly, this is a deterrent so they don't do it in the future. We could have even charged them millions of dollars because government is also losing money. Yeah. So the charge we put them there, we feel is fair and justifiable, and they can keep them in business, but also stop them from violating the law.
Okay. So you talked about the cross-border activities. Which are them?
So, mainly there are other violations. Some of them are worse than others. They think about the price war was the most, I would say, discouraging and more alarming. The other violations were less of offense, but they stay very important. The cross-border connectivity is the internet connection that Orange has with Ivory Coast. Their license say you can only connect with a licensed operator. A licensed operator licensed by the LTA. If you go, and even then we say your international connection should be done with approval from the LTA. Okay. And they did not seek approval. What they said was the legislator told them to go and connect. And I say, with all due respect, the legislator has a role to instruct or to recommend to the LTA to issue license or authorization for these people to get connected, but they cannot just have a meeting with the legislator and kind of say, "Okay, we're going to connect because since the legislator said we should do that." Mm-hmm. It has to be authorized. That's the proper manner to do that. As a matter of fact, the cross-border connectivity is not a bad idea, but it has to be done within the framework. Otherwise, everybody could just get on and say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to connect," and then we'll have other issues.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Kamara, you also talked about digital training, if you can remember, if I can recall.
Yeah.
Okay, so why have you...
So yeah, the 10,000 people that we're supposed to train for the digital transformation. First, I would like to let people know that the training is the first tiny step towards digital transformation. Digital transformation means we'll be doing most of the activity from government to businesses to e-commerce to security and everything through digital means. That's the future. This is where most nations are going to. So Liberia will not be left behind. The first step was the president announced in his speech that in a 6 months time we're going to be training up to 10,000 young people. I'm pleased to inform the public that we have almost 12,000 people that registered. We had to shut down the site for registration. And currently some of them are doing the training online. We have selected all of the institutions that are supposed to conduct the training throughout the country, from Maryland to Cape Mount to Lofa. Everybody have registered, so we got a number of people all over the places. And the training was set to have started on this week, but the availability of funding, the funding came a little bit later. So we'll be dispersing the funds to the institution to commence the training as soon as, I think within the next week or two. So in practical sense, we are on course. The curriculum has been developed, the trainers have been trained, the schools have been selected, everything is set. It's just for us to pay the institution so the training can commence. The fund is available. Now, everything this time we're going to go through PPCC. and because of that, we are a little bit a few days behind schedule.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, back to the GSM companies. They were fined 300,000 each. So have any of them, or what was
The status?
yes? What's the
So
status?
the both of them had two different engagements. It was very interesting.
Okay.
So Orange took us to court. The court had put a stay order on their portion, and MTN came and they requested a waiver because they said it was not a desire to do so. They made a case that because the other person was undercutting, they couldn't allow the company to suffer. It happened before. The company they fire up to almost 100 people when the same price was happening a few years ago. So they didn't want to find themselves in that same situation again. That's the argument. We heard them out. So the board is going to take a decision on how to proceed with their request. At the same time, Orange took us to court, so our legal team is preparing to respond to that. So in other words, we have two different approaches.
Yeah.
One is asking for compassion, the other one is taking us to court. But the board remains firm and very firm in its decision. We took care in deciding. We reviewed the cases, and we believe a strong action was necessary to ensure that people do what they're supposed to do. Orange action, I feel, is disingenuous because, in other words, they're telling us they won't be complying with the order. That is pretty much what they're telling us.
So what is the fate with the court?
Well, the court, like I said, the points that were raised, our legal team is addressing those points to be able to respond to that.
So, Mr. Kamara, what do you hope to see to take in the LTA in the next 6 years?
So we have big ambitions. My colleagues and myself, we want to leave a mark. I've made it clear over and over. I said, by the time my tenure expires in 4 years, I will ensure that this sector create at least 2 Liberian millionaires. There is so much money in this sector, but the sector has been poorly supervised. And we're here to make it work, especially for Liberians. The operators reported around like $160 million in revenue. I believe it is around $250, maybe $300 million, this market. And if we do the right thing, put the right instruments in place, this market can generate those revenue.
Wow.
Yeah. And we don't want Liberians to be left out of this. So we are ensuring that we restructure the market so that more Liberians can participate, so that the income generated can also be retained in Liberia. You know, the big operators are mostly owned by foreigners, so the revenue and the profits that have been made from the 160 million is mostly going outside of Liberia, which is capital flight. And our intent is to ensure that Liberians take serious participation into this space so that we have some people that can employ more Liberians and keep their incomes right here in Liberia. That's the ambition we have. So we have a lot of programs coming up. Fortunately, President Walker has been very, very supportive of the tech space. He's very passionate about it. He's also cautious about what technology brings. You know, it brings a lot of good, but it also has downside in terms of security, identity theft, cyber crimes. So we are currently working with the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications to put a cybercrime law on paper, and have the legislators pass on it.
Pass on it.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Kamara. Is there anything to be?
I would just say I'm happy to be on your platform. I know this platform to be very, very informative, and with limited bias. I know everybody got their biases, but at least it's relatively balanced. And also, I'll ask everybody, especially your viewers, to join us in making Liberia's telecommunication space very, very vibrant. Our young people will benefit more because we want more investment in technology. We're going to create something I'll call the tech hub, where technology will be stimulated, will be like an incubator for young technology companies to grow up in Liberia, just like in Ghana, Rwanda, Kenya, the same way those young people are actually pushing the economy. I would like everybody to also join us that we do more digital. Digital is secure, I can tell you that, but it's also safe for transactions and also to bring us in the same to the same level like our neighboring countries. So that's my message.
All right, thank you for being on our platform.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, this is Focus on Liberia, and we're in the office of the acting chair of the Liberia Telecommunications Authority. My name is Gwendolyn Dorado, and we've come to do follow-up on some issues that were raised by the LTA on the GSM companies. The only two we have here that says by the acting chair that was short decline in market and the government revenue capacity. So we have come to do follow-up on the fines that were given to the both companies, and he told us that one of the companies took them to court, and the other came, MTN came and said, hey, this is it, we've gone this far, and so we have to put it on the table. So that's it. My name is Gwendolyn Dorado. We say thanks to the acting chairman for being on our platform. And I guess we're going to be back here again someday. So it's bye-bye for me. My name is Gwendolyn Dorado.
Thank you.